You've seen artifact decks swarm the table, but what if your entire army had Menace, and at the end of your turn, you got a massive construct that just keeps getting bigger? That's exactly what Urza Chief Artificer does best, and once the machines start rolling, your opponents start folding. Hi everyone, I'm PhilHarmonicon, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a powerful Esper commander that rewards you for doing what artifact decks already love doing. Playing artifact creatures. He discounts himself for every artifact creature you control, gives your entire mechanical army Menace, and then quietly builds gigantic construct tokens that spiral out of control. It's Urza, Chief Artificer, and if you like turning a pile of metal into a win condition, generating artifact creature tokens, and smashing face with massive evasive threats, this deck is for you. Urza is a 4/5 human artificer for 6 mana, 3 colorless plus white, blue, and black. And he has 3 very mean abilities. 1. Affinity for artifact creatures. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact creature you control. 2. Artifact creatures you control have Menace. It can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. And 3. At the beginning of your end step, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So what this means is, Urza almost never costs 6 mana. Then Menace across the entire board, and finally the real engine, the construct tokens. They immediately count every other artifact you control. They get huge, fast. The strategy here is super straightforward. First, we cast artifact creatures and get our artifact count online. Then, we bring Urza down and start snowballing with value. And finally, we win by swinging in with massive, evasive construct tokens and a board full of artifact creatures that are very hard to block efficiently. These creatures do double duty. They discount Urza and grow your constructs. Bronze Guardian is fantastic. It has Ward 2, and it gives all your other artifacts Ward 2 too. It has double strike, and its power scales with your artifact count. It's protection and pressure in one card. Baleful Strix is just efficient. 2 mana, draw a card with a Death Touch body. It discourages attacks, and it helps get Urza down fast. Master of Ethereum is a classic artifact lord. It buffs your entire board and grows alongside your artifact count. Chief of the Foundry is a clean, simple artifact creature lord. Exactly what we want. Steel Overseer isn't technically a lord, but it puts a +1/+1 counter on all your artifact creatures. Left unchecked, this gets out of hand. Phyrexian Metamorph is a Swiss army knife. 3 mana and some life to copy the best thing on the battlefield, and it's an artifact. Spellskite gives you protection by redirecting targeted spells. Super useful for keeping Urza alive. Aether-Sworn Canonist slows your opponents down while barely affecting us. We cast artifact spells freely, and they're limited to 1 non-artifact per turn. And Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter, gives your artifacts flash. Playing at instant speed in an artifact deck is very strong. If 1 construct per turn is good, more is better. Urza, Lord High Artificer, makes a construct on ETB, ramps you by tapping artifacts, and eventually lets you cast from the top of your library. Digsite Engineer lets you pay extra mana to create constructs whenever you cast an artifact. March of Progress can copy 1 artifact creature or every single one. That gets absurd quickly. Thousand Moons Smithy makes a gnome token on ETB, which is a ramped up construct token. Then flips into a land that keeps producing them when you cast spells with the mana it produces. Altec Matterweaver makes every creature spell a 2/1, and if you already have a construct, you can just copy it. Going Wide also grows your constructs and discounts Urza. Illustrious Wondergriff makes a token on every upkeep, not just yours, and eventually pumps the board. Yes please. Sai, Master Thopterus, and Thopter Spy Network both create Thopters and generate card advantage. Sharding Sphinx makes more flying tokens when your artifact creatures connect. This snowballs hard. Here are a few cards that help the game plan along. Urza, Prince of Krug, buffs artifact creatures and starts copying artifacts into creature tokens. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, gives your creatures affinity for artifacts, drains opponents based on your artifact count, recurs artifacts, and floods the board with value. Unwinding Clock untaps your artifacts on every other player's turn. That's mana, activations, everything. Cranial Plating turns any creature into a lethal threat, especially at instant speed. Cyberdrive Awakener is a finisher. It gives flying to artifact creatures and turns non-creature artifacts into 4/4 flyers. Games end quickly after this. And Emry, Lurker of the Lock, turns your graveyard into a second hand for artifacts. We never want to run out of gas. Lochiel, Clockwork Scholar, protects your attackers and draws cards when artifact creatures enter. Thought Monitor basically costs 1 or 2 mana in this deck and draws 2 cards. Padim, Console of Innovation, gives your artifacts hexproof and rewards you for having the biggest artifact. Esper Sentinel is peak synergy. It draws cards and discounts Urza for 1 mana. One with a Machine is huge burst draw that draws cards equal to the biggest artifact mana value. Mystic Forge lets you cast artifacts off the top of your library. Uthras Researchcraft turns artifact casting into card draw and later becomes a huge flying threat. Research Thief draws cards when artifact creatures connect to opponent's face. Platoon Dispenser makes artifact creatures and draws cards when you're going wide. And Tezzeret, Artifice Master, creates tokens, draws cards, and eventually gives you an artifact tutoring emblem. Let's look at some synergistic removal pieces. Organic Extinction, and their name is Death. Wipe non-artifact creatures. Phyrexian Scriptures turns one of your creatures into an artifact and then wipes all non-artifact creatures. It also removes graveyards. Dispatch is Swords to Plowshare with no downside in this deck. Noxious Gearhulk removes something and gains you life. We also run counterspells like Counterspell, An Offer You Can't Refuse, and Dovin's Veto. Then the staples, Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, Anguished Unmaking, and Voidrend. We're not in green, but artifacts are perfect here. Ornithopter of Paradise effectively ramps for 2 thanks to Urza's affinity. Silvermyrrh, Goldmyrrh, and Leaden Myrrh function similarly, but only tap for 1 color. Solemn Simulacrum ramps a land and discounts Urza. Ethereum Sculptor and Foundry Inspector reduce artifact spell costs. And of course, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and the 3 Esper Talismans. Artifact lands here are huge. Seat of the Synod, Vault of Whispers, and Ancient Den replace a basic and boost artifact count. Bridge lands like Mistvault Bridge, Razor Tide Bridge, and Goldmire Bridge fix colors and counters artifacts. Darksteel Citadel and Treasure Vault add to synergy, and Vault can explode into treasures. Urza's Saga makes another construct and tutors a Soul Ring. Academy Ruins and Buried Ruin recur artifacts. Inventor's Fair tutors for an artifact when you sack it. And the Mycosynth Gardens copies your best artifact. Urza Chief Artificer is powerful, but more importantly, he's synergistic. He rewards you specifically for focusing on artifact creatures. The deck can function without him, but once he's online, the pressure multiplies quickly. Protect him when you can, but don't be afraid to recast him. Affinity keeps the tax manageable, and once those constructs hit critical mass, it's very hard for opponents to keep up. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more synergy-focused Commander content. And if you're picking up any of these cards, consider using my TCG Player affiliate link down below. And until next time, may all your constructs be huge.